Yes, Lord. We thank God for another opportunity. We prepare to look at His Word. We're talking about circumstances earlier. So if you have your Bible, let's take a look in the book of the Genesis. I'm going to read several scriptural inserts, and so you could first turn to Genesis 37, chapter 37. I'm just going to read several verses. Then I'm going to skip over to chapter 39 and then end up chapter 41. But I want to try to, Spirit allows, tie this all together. And so Genesis 37, starting at verse 3, it says this, it says, "Now Israel loved Joseph more than all his children, because he was the son of his old age. And he made him a coat of many colors." It says, "And when his brethren saw that their father loved him more than all his brethren, they hated him,
Yes, sir.
and could not speak peaceably unto him." It says, "And Joseph dreamed a dream, and he told it his brethren, and they hated him yet the more."
Yes, sir.
Chapter 39, I'm going to read several inserts starting at verse 2 through 4. It says, "And the Lord was with Joseph, and he was a prosperous man, and he was in the house of his master the Egyptian.
Yes, sir.
And his master saw that the Lord was with him, and that the Lord made all that he did prosper in his hand. And Joseph found grace in his sight, and he served him, and he made him overseer over his house, and all that he had he put into his hands." Now drop down to verse 19. It says, "And it came to pass, when his master heard the words of his wife,
Yes, sir.
which he spake unto him, saying, After this manner did thy servant to me, that his wrath was kindled. And Joseph's master took him and put him into the prison, a place where the king's prisoners were bound, and he was there in the prison." It says, "But the Lord was with Joseph,
Yes, sir.
and showed him mercy, and gave him favor in the sight of the keeper of the prison." Close this out. I just want to go over now to Genesis 41,
Yes, sir.
starting at verse 35. And it says this. It says, "And let them gather all the food of the good years that come, and lay up corn under the hand of Pharaoh, and let them keep food in the cities." It says, "And that food shall be for store to the land against the 7 years of famine, which should be in the land of Egypt, that the land perish not through the famine. It says, and the thing was good in the eyes of Pharaoh and in the eyes of all his servants. It says, and Pharaoh said unto his servants, can we find such a one as this one, a man in whom the Spirit of the Lord is?
Oh, yeah.
And Pharaoh said unto Joseph, for as much as God has showed thee all this, there is none so discreet and as wise as thou art. Stop right there. I just want to deal with this because of these inserts I've read. If you know the whole story that goes behind each one, I want to deal with this favor against famine. How to become stronger through the blessings and the trials of life. You understand, they're talking about favor. Favor is the high time in life. It's the time of you get support. It's the time that you're treated with care, to make easy approval. It's an act of kindness. It's getting consent. It also has the defined terminology of unfair partiality. You understand? And then you talk about famine on the other hand. It's the lows. It's a drastic shortage of anything, a severe hunger, an extreme appetite. But no matter through famine or through favor, we have to come and learn to understand that it's a process through which God is preparing us. You have to look at this story about Joseph and understand this story in totality about Joseph. You're going to find that Joseph was a man that he was loved and he was hated. He was favored and he was abused. He was tempted and he was trusted. He was exalted and he was abased. Yet at no point in the 110 years of his life did he ever seem to take his eyes off of God or cease to trust in him. You see, adversity, what it does to some people, it did not do to Joseph. You see, it did not harden his character. And prosperity, what it does to some people, it did not do to Joseph. It did not ruin him. You got to understand, you got to understand, Joseph was the same in private as he was in public. He was in favor from his father, but he got famine from his brothers. You have to understand the highs and lows, this thing that Joseph was dealing with. You understand, you're looking at chapter 37, you're going to find out that it tells us that Joseph found favor with Jacob. You know, there's some things about parenting in there that someone could read and someone could come to understand. You see, you have to be very careful as a parent, these parenting issues. You see, showing favoritism, and you know, mothers and parents and fathers don't like to admit it, but there's always one child that you seem to have a little more partiality to than the other. But you have to be very careful because this partiality and this favoritism, this favor that's handed out can cause problems in the family. It can cause division. It can cause hatred. It can cause all these things to come about, anger. It can cause dislike. So you have to be very careful. You see, one thing you have to understand when you have this favoritism toward children, another thing that it shows us that Jacob did, you become very overly protective. You have to understand that Joseph found favor with Jacob, but there was hatred that came into his life. There was jealousy and envy because he was favored. And so you got to understand, you're going to hear me say it quite often, favor will get you into something, but favor can get you out. You got to understand that. That's a good thing about favor. It's about favor. You see, Jacob was conspired against because he was favored. But not only that, part of Jacob's characteristic was that Jacob was a dreamer. Jacob was a dreamer, and so he had these dreams. Not only was he gifted with this talent from God, but he had this favoritism from his father. And so he's getting favor from everywhere, and people don't like it. That people would not like you when it just seems like you got too much coming your way, when they think that it should be split up and divided. And why and who are you that you get so much when someone else is maybe getting so little. And so Jacob was a dreamer, right? And he had this dream one time over in 37, but it was a dream, and so-called dream that involved he and his brothers. And so
Yes, sir.
Joseph, did I say Jacob? Joseph, excuse me. Joseph had this dream. But anyway, it was about these sheep. And so he began to express this dream to his brothers. Now you already got somebody that don't like you. You already got somebody that hates you, that don't have feelings towards you. Yet now you're getting ready to tell them, I had a dream. And my dream was this. There was these sheep that were standing. But my sheep, when it stood up, all the other sheep bowed before him. The sheep was me, the other sheep was you, my brother. And y'all was bowing. So not only are you selling, but we see that you're favored, but now you're beginning to seemingly rub it in my face. You have to be careful. You have to be careful. Joseph was arrogant. He was cocky and he was prideful toward his brothers. And I stop by to tell you, you see, favor can do that to you. It can make you become arrogant. It can make you become cocky. It can make you become prideful. Favor can make you become drunk on yourself. You have to be careful not to become drunk on yourself. Too many compliments will cause you to think you more than what you are. And so that's what you got to understand. You have to learn how to be able to control the things that come to you, because you understand the same compliments that cause you to get drunk will, on the other hand, turn into a famine, which will be the criticism which will cause you to die. Oh, I stopped by to tell you.
Stop. Yes.
This famine and this favor coming together. You see, this famine, this criticism. You see, Joseph's brothers began to dislike him so much that they set out to destroy him. You see, because famine will come up on you, and this criticism they have and this rejection, they began to reject him. They began to reject his authority. They began to reject him personally. They began to reject his pleas for freedom when they threw him in the hole, and when they began to sell him into slavery. But you know how this thing goes, this favor, the highs and lows of it. If you ever seen anybody, you get a new job and you come in and the boss might see something in you that he favors you. Now you've been getting along with all the other workers, but all of a sudden the boss is talking to you, and all of a sudden there's a promotion at hand and you get the promotion, and everybody else is saying, but I've been here. Now he just got here. She just got here. She got the promotion. So your favor will cause you to be in a bad position, and people will begin to treat you differently. They will begin to kind of try to disrespect you, and they'll begin to try to put you into the famine. You understand? You'll be walking around and you find yourself isolated because nobody else wants to deal with you, because you got special treatment. It's the same thing about when you first fell in love, that first love you had. You understand? Y'all first met up, you got together, and you couldn't tear yourself away from each other. There was so much favor going on between you that even when you was separated, you was at home, and you on the telephone, you didn't even have to say nothing. You could just listen to each other breathe. Oh, some of y'all know what I'm talking about. You just listen to somebody breathe. You know, when you got ready to hang up, you went through that little thing. Here, you hang up. You hang up first. I thought you was gonna hang up. Waiting on you to come on, y'all smiling. Yeah, I'm talking about favor. I'm talking about favor. But as the relationship went on, some of them same relationships that there was so much favor in, as you went along, you got together, whether you were shacking or you got married, the next thing you know, you ain't even talking to each other. You can't even be in the same room together. You can't. I'm talking about favor. I'm talking about famine. I'm talking about these situations of life. Pastors in churches experience it all the time. When you become a new pastor in the church, you know, everybody's there. Everybody's happy to have you. Everybody talking about how they prayed and was looking for somebody like you. But as soon as you start making a decision, that favor that you had, well, it wasn't the decision they wanted, start to turn to famine, and all of a sudden, no. I ain't gonna stay on that one. But you know, they did it to Jesus, you know. Remember when he came into the city, Oh, Hosanna, the palm leaves, and they laid down their clothes, and they let him come in, and they worshiped him, and they praised him. But it was only a week later that they were saying, take him, crucify him. I'm talking about favor turning into famine, you understand? And so we have Joseph here. You see, Joseph was going through, but Joseph knew all the things, even when famine came, he knew that all things were working together for the good of them that love God. And so Joseph, if you know the story, you go back to that chapter 39, Joseph was sold into slavery. You understand? He was sold into slavery because of his favor. You see, back it up just a minute. Joseph had been given a coat. Y'all all know about the coat that Joseph was given. It was a long coat with long sleeves. You want to know why that coat caused so much animosity? Because it was the garment that was given to the inheritor. When the Father gives you the coat, he gives you, it's like the robe. And you see, Joseph received it, but Joseph was the only one really in line to receive it because all the other brothers had sinned and they weren't worthy to be leaders of the family. We never really get to that part of it. But Joseph was given the coat and they hated him for the coat.
Yes, sir.
They hated him for the favor. But to move on, he was sold into slavery. But you understand, this is the good part because God always has a plan. He's always working things out. And so we don't understand God's ways. We don't understand his thoughts. But he was working out a plan. And although these guys were against him, these brothers was against him, God was using them to fulfill the plan that he had for Joseph. So they thought they was getting rid of Joseph, and all they was doing was walking in the revelation of God. You see, that's what I like about God. You see, you can never understand God in your mentality. Sometimes you think you're doing what you want to do, and you're doing just what God wants you to do. We watch this here. When you was out in the world and you was doing your thing, you thought you was doing what you wanted to do, but God allowed you to do the things you do because God is setting up a plan. You understand? God, y'all don't hear me yet. Y'all don't hear me yet. God lets you do what you do. God wants you to see enough of yourself till you start disliking who you are. You want to know what brought you to Jesus? Because you start disliking who you were. You start disliking what you stood for. You start disliking what you were going through. But God let you go out there and be you.
Yes, sir.
And you thought you was doing your thing. How many times you say, oh, I got this. I got this under control. God said, I'm just guiding you through. You understand? Because if God didn't have his hand on you, a lot of things you got involved in would have took your life. But God kept his hands on you. He kept breath in your body. He kept protection around you and security. You thought you had your hand on it. You thought you had it under control. All the time it was God right there. Get you ready for today. Get you ready for tomorrow. Get you ready for the future. Get you preparing you. God is always preparing you. We talked about it this morning. When you're going through circumstances and situations, it's preparation that God is getting you ready. He's making you stronger. He's making you wiser. And he's getting you in a proper position, in a proper place. And so here Joseph is on his way to Egypt. No. God prepares us through blessings and through trials of life. You see, look what Joseph learned. Joseph learned through blessings. He learned leadership and he learned hard work. I'm talking about the blessing. Even when he was in his circumstance, even when he was in the prison, God had him put in position to lead and to guide. And so through the blessing that he received, he and the trials of life, he learned leadership and hard work. Why? There's a part in here you read that Joseph was constantly being put in temptation by Potiphar's wife. But look what Joseph learned through temptation. He learned self-denial. He learned self-discipline. And he learned control. You see, I'm talking about what things you look at. It's about perception, like we said earlier. Things you look at as terribly bad, God takes those things and he uses them for the good and the building of your character. God put Jacob through trial because he needed to go through some trial so that he could get the feeling of humiliation, that he would get compassion, that he would learn endurance, and he would learn hardness. You see, you can't learn how to endure nothing if you ain't never going through something. And so you got to go through something so you can learn how to persevere. You got to go through something so you can learn how to be able to put up with stuff that comes up in your life so that you don't become broken, so that you learn how to stand on the power and the word of God, so that you can start to march through circumstances, you can start to march through situations, you can start to march through whatever is put in your life, you can start to march through people, them that get in your way and try to knock you off track, and you can go through them smiling in their face and saying to God be the glory. I just don't walk through this situation. Oh, I know they dug a trap for me. Watch me walk over this trap because God has laid a platform for me. And if they try to follow me, watch who we end up, you know. I tell you, it is humiliation, humility, learn, and exaltation. And so wherever there are highs,
yes, sir.
I'm talking about favor. You got to understand, wherever they are, there are going to be some lows.
That's right.
You understand? The lows, and the lower the lows, the higher the high. I'm talking about when God put you through something, when you're going through the heat of the fire, and you ain't never been through nothing like that before, you need to get excited. Because I'm showing God, I'm showing myself. God allowed me to show myself. God allowed me to show. I had a conversation yesterday with a gentleman. Went to buy a fish dinner, and we was talking, and he started explaining to me all the different things that he was going through or had gone through in his life. He done lost his sister, he done lost his mother, lost his dad, lost his uncle, lost all these people in his life, and now he's dealing with a sick brother that may not live. He's dealing with all this here, and he said, it did something to me, Pastor. And I said, God works like that. He works like that. He pushes you through. He said, there was days I thought I wasn't going to make it. I laid in the house in the dark on the floor 2 weeks, and then I'd come out a little bit, but I just didn't feel like doing nothing. I said, but God's working on you. He's working on you. He said, I didn't think I could handle it. I said, but if you know the word of God, God won't give you nothing that you can't handle. He said, but all that I went through, he said, I'm still here. He said, I made it through. He said, and what it did is it changed my perception of life. It changed the things that I thought meant something before don't really mean nothing. He said, simple is good. He said, I thought it took a lot of money, but it ain't money, because money can't give you happiness, it can't give you the joy. He said, but I changed my perception. He said, you know what, now I can go through. He said, I still got things going on, circumstances in my life. He said, but I'm going through, and I know that I'm going to make it. I know that I can make it. And I said, just don't stop trusting God. He said, I got to deal with some people that are close to me. I said, them the one that hurt the most, and them the one that can do the most damage. I said, because they're the ones that you really care about what they think. I said, but I tell you this, if somebody ain't being exalted in your life, if someone ain't being encouraging in your life, if someone ain't lifting you up in your life, if someone ain't being positive in your life, get rid of them. I don't care who they are. You got to understand, you got to understand where there's highs and lows, where there's lows, there's going to be high. And so you got to understand that God is with you. He's with you in whatever state you're in. Paul said, it don't matter. I've learned how to be content. I've learned. You see, you got to understand. Watch this here. You even can grow through disappointment. You understand? People will disappoint you when they say what they will do. You know, people good to tell you what they do. They good to tell you what they'll be for you. But the people will disappoint you. They have a lot of good intentions, but their motivation and their achievements always seem to fall short. You see, people seem to have their own interests at heart. They have their own agenda and care less really about yours. You understand? That's why I sit by and I tell y'all, stop telling people all your business. You understand? It's just going to be a topic of conversation. It's going to make you angry and frustrated and disgusted later on in your life. You want to talk to someone about your troubles, have a talk with Jesus. Somebody that can do something for you. Somebody that wants to do something for you. Somebody that will do something for you. You see, the people will make promises that they never seem to ever keep. You understand? And some of you right here have made promises that you would be obligated to do certain things and you fell short. Yes, and so we're talking about people, but we all been there. You understand? So people promises can cause you disappointments. But those disappointments God uses to teach you forgiveness. Watch that. He uses those disappointments to teach you patience. Just as he did with Joseph. You see, watch this here. Joseph was in the prison with the butler. And who was the other? The butler and the baker, right? And they had this dream. Well, Joseph told them the dream, and they all came true, and things came to fruition. But he had talked to the butler that when you get out of here, when this thing happens, remember me when you're talking to the king. And the butler said, surely I'll remember you. But when the butler got exalted, he got re-put back in the position. The Bible tells us that he forgot about Joseph. He forgot about Joseph, but God is working things out. You see, it wasn't quite time for Joseph to be released. And so you can't really put it all on the butler, because God didn't move the butler to do that. God needed Joseph to stay there a little longer. Sometimes in situations in life, God needs you to stay right there in the midst of your circumstances, right there in the midst of your situation. But you see, Joseph had the best going on. He's the one running the prison. He's the top dog in prison. He's the one calling all the shots. The other guy just said, Joseph, you have your way. You run this place. And so it wasn't, God had taken a bad environment and made it comfortable for Joseph to be there. Oh, nobody wants to be locked up. I'm trying to tell y'all something. Some of y'all got kids that are locked up and y'all worry about them, but you what? God got them there for a reason, and they might be safer there than out on the street, because when they was on the street, they was acting a fool. When they was on the street, they was doing what they do, and they was on the street, they was putting their life in danger. Now, that ain't to say their life ain't in danger in prison, but they go there and get to their cell and mind their own business and be still and wait on the Lord. Things are going to work out. And while they're in the midst, God is saying, be still and hear and see the salvation of God. That's why God says sometimes I got to just stop you, because when you're out in the world, you're running to and fro, you're running here and there. You ain't got time to listen to God whispering in your ear, or too many other folks and too much other stuff is in your ear. And so it's overshadowing what God is trying to get you to do. But God said, if I just put you in this little, whatever size it is, and hold you still for a moment, you got time to listen to every word I say. You got time for me to come in and begin to minister to your heart, begin to change your perception on life, begin to let you be still. Oh, that's not right. And so it was 2 years. There was 2 more years that Joseph remained in prison. But God's plan was unfolding all the time. You see, when God gets quiet and God's holding you in a zone, He's holding you, or as we say sometimes, when He's got you in your season, He's got you in your season, you just have to remember it's a season, and seasons change. But he was there for 2 more years because God needed him to wait right there while he set this thing up. You see, there's a season. There's a season for us all. And our time is not God's time. And so God sets up the season. He's the one that changes the season. And so he had him there. And so God operates, watch this, God operates under a principle of balance.
Yes, sir.
You understand? Famine is only famine when you have nothing left. You got to understand, except for God. So I'm trying to say it to tell you, never give anything your everything unless is God. And whatever you're going through or dealing with, you need to save something for later. I'm talking about your highs and your lows. And with God, you can prosper even in the time of famine. Even in the time of famine, you can prosper with God. That's what's so good about it. God takes your famine and he makes it good for you. I start by to tell you, see, he needed Joseph to stay there in that prison for 2 more years because he's setting something up. And so he's the one that can bring dreams. God can put people in position that they need his people. They can be unsaved people, but he'll put them in a position to where they need his people. And so God was setting this up. Now, who else other than Pharaoh would be the one that I'm going to put him in a position that he needs my people? And so he said, hold on, Joseph. Just hold on. Don't get impatient. You see, you can't get impatient with God. You have to have patience with God. Hold on, Joseph. Hold on. Just stay right there. Times ain't that bad. Stay right there in the midst. But keep your eyes on me. Keep your eyes on me. And watch how I'm getting ready to work this thing out. When you keep your eyes on God and begin to watch how he works out situations in life, you can't help but have a closer relationship start to form with God. You can't help but build a more bond with God when you see how he's working things out. Even in the midst of the depth of your circumstances, God somehow is giving you peace. He somehow is giving you that joy you need. He somehow holding things on. You got to understand, God is working your situation out. So he's telling Joseph, hold on. I know it's been 2 years. It seems like a long time to you, but time is of no essence to God. And so you just hold on. I'm going to work this thing out. And so he gave the baker a dream. He gave the, what's the other one? Help me. Butcher. He gave him a dream so that he needed his people. Now, the baker, the butler, that's who it was. The butler, he didn't speak like Joseph wanted him to speak, but he surely had to speak when God wanted him to speak. And so when Pharaoh came up with a dream, Pharaoh was troubled. See, God knows how to trouble people to where they go searching, and you know what, he can trouble you to the point all you want is the solution and the answer, and you know the truth of the matter. You don't care where it comes from as long as it's the solution and the answer. And so he troubled Pharaoh to the point that he called all of his folk.
Yes, sir. His folk.
You see, when God is moving, just anybody won't do. He called his folk and he told them the dream. He wasn't like the other guy who said, you need to tell me the dream. He told them the dream, and they didn't have any answers, and he was even more trouble because now he's going into this depression and this discouragement. He's going into this disillusionment because I got an issue that seems to have no answer, but yet now the butler comes and God said, now, let me open your mouth. He said, I know a man that I had an experience with, that I had a dream, and he told me about the same thing of you putting me back in position. He said, he's a Hebrew though. He's a Hebrew. He's not one of us. He's a Hebrew. He said, bring him to me. Now it seems like God gets you already. God ain't going to just put you there in any kind of position. It said they took Joseph and they washed him up and they shaved him up and they put new clothes on him so that he could be presentable. He didn't want to have that prison smell, that prison look. He didn't take him up there in no orange fatigues and stripes or whatever, blues or whatever. They put the representative clothes on him, and he went there and he heard the dream and he began to tell him about these 7 good years and 7 bad years, the favor and the famine. And so you got to understand, when you have favor in your life, you have to do what Joseph told him to do. You need to prepare for the famine. You see, some people become wasteful. They become just overly whatever they do when they're in the midst of favor. You see, for people getting a lot of money, they think they got to spend a lot more. But you see, so remember that, you know what, I'm in good season right now, and the harvest is well. The money's coming in, so why don't I lay it back so that when the season changes and the inopportune moment starts to exist and cars break down, and the roof start leaking, and the toilet get messed up, and I need extra money to fix things around. Then the famine to come, but I'm ready for the famine. And so he said they saved up, but he told him, you need to find a man that can set up a plan. And Pharaoh told him, what other man than you?
Yes, sir.
If you look at this story, it's a rags to riches. You understand? It's from the field to the palace.
Yes,
and this is the kind of God that we serve. The kind of God that's able to take your life, whatever position it's in. That's why God said, come on to me. It doesn't matter. Just come as you are. That thing that we say, come as you are. He said, I want you to come on. I want you to come on broken. I want you to come on with your issues in life. I want you to come on with your famine life. I want you to come on when things aren't so good. God, I want to show you how I can turn things around. When you came to God, you was probably broken. When you came to God, you was probably struggling. You had issues with finances. You had issues with relationships. You had issues with the things and the problems and the circumstances of life. But God said, come on. I don't want you coming up in here and thinking you already got it together. I want you to come to God. I want you to come to me in your broken state so that when you walk up in here, you're ready to receive. You're looking for a solution. You're looking for an answer. He said, that's why I let you go out there. I let you go out there in the world and run. I let you go out there and tear things up. I let you go out there and destroy your life to the point that you got it to a point that you can't handle it no more. And you got to take your hands off of it. And so you come running to me. I ain't going to get here and sit and tell you what you should have done, when you should have done it. When you came to God, it was the right time that you should have came. It was the time that God had prepared for you to show up. Oh, you think you chose? The Bible says you didn't choose him. He said, I chose you. I chose you. I opened the door for you to walk through. I opened the door for you to come in. You didn't choose me. You want to say I decided to go to Jesus? No, God said the time is now. Come on out the door. We get ready to get this thing rolling. We ready to get this thing straight. God said you get ready to start working it out. You get ready to work it out. You get ready to get your position. You get it. Walk into revelation. But these things are starting to manifest. God said the season, the favor, the famine. He said you're going to have those times.
Yes,
so I stopped by there to tell you get ready to close. You know, it don't matter what you're going through. Whatever your season is right now. I said you got to learn how to trust God. You see, Joseph never took his eyes off of God. He never took his eyes off of God when he was in the pit that his brothers threw him in.
Yes, sir.
He didn't take his eyes off of God when he was walking in the slave line, headed to Egypt. He just kept on trusting God. You see, that there has to be some kind of zeal and excitement. Even when you're going through the situations of life. Sometimes you may feel like you're locked up. Sometimes you may feel like you're in bondage. But that's what you need to be saying. God, where are we going? What are we doing? What's about to happen? I got this unexpected expectation that there's something ahead on this journey that I'm on. And that as I go through, I'm just having this enthusiasm and this zeal. Because I'm just looking at how God is working it out all along the way. The slave trade took him to Egypt. And he was sold to an Egyptian. He's been bounced around, but all the time he still trusts God. The Egyptian sees the God in him. Because you see, even in the situations of life, God said, he said everything he touched prospered. You see, so even in the famine, everything he touched prospered.
Yes, sir.
Because as the song said, God wanted someone to see not Joseph, but the God in Joseph.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
That he said, this Hebrew, this guy that I know nothing really about, but I see the God, his God in him, that I'm going to let him reign over all that I have. Trust in him. And so from there, but famine's right there. Because people are looking and people are trying to destroy it. And you know the story about the wife. She desired Joseph, but Joseph was put into a temptation situation, but he used it for God's glory because it built in him self-control. It built in him discipline that he resisted. It said, resist the devil.
Yes, sir.
Leave. But he left something behind. Got him put in prison. But in prison he began to continue letting God use him. And so I'm just saying all of this today just to say to somebody, just let God shine through in your life and keep trusting God in all the situations, in any and every situation, no matter how big or how small. Don't take your eyes off of him, not in the good times nor in the bad, because it's the time of faith that we seem to lose sight of God. When we think that we got it all together, when we think life is going well, that's the time that we seem to lose sight of God. And then we start to want to do our own thing. God said, don't do it. Keep trusting him. Keep believing in him. Just watch God begin to elevate you, that he be elevated more. And whatever it is, when God gives you and abounds you, never forget to say, it had not been for the Lord.
Yes, sir.
It had not been for him. And so to God be the glory.
Yes, sir.
So right now we just extend the invitation once again. Favor, family. With God, you're able to survive them all. So you don't have to get discouraged when life starts looking down. You don't have to get frustrated when it looks like things aren't going to work out. When your season seems to change, when things was going so good, and all of a sudden it just changed. Looks like just trouble was everywhere. Trouble was all around. Don't take your eyes off God. Keep your hand in his hand. So we offer the invitation. Someone may be going through something right now. You can take time. You can have prayer. Things be put in order. During that time, it's seemingly like a time of famine. Now you know. Maybe you're there for the good of somebody else. Maybe you're there that God can strengthen you. Maybe you're there that God can build more character. Maybe he's there to show you that even in the midst of what you're in, that you should still be holding on to your joy. You should still be holding on to your peace. You should never ever let go of your hope. And maybe you there just so he can show you that he's God, that he's in control of all things. Whatever it is, trust him, trust him. So as we begin to pray, you begin to talk with him, you begin to express, whether it be favor or whether it be famine. Just begin to tell God that you know that he's able, that he's working out these things. You believe, you trust, you believe that he's working out these things for the betterment. So, precious Heavenly Father, we come right now in the mighty name of Jesus. And we can come before you, dear God, and we can just say right now, touch those that have stepped out and stepped forward, dear God, and whatever it is in their life, and right now you will begin to give them a better understanding, dear God. Give them a better grasp of the things that are taking place, God. Let them know, let them see that you are God and God all by yourself. Let them see where you might be trying to have them go. Let them hear what it is that you're needing them to hear. Let them see and understand to do what it is you would have them to do. And God, whatever it is, we know that you're able. Touch them right now, that the God of them can go forth, God, that people can see if you have them in the position now, the situation, the circumstance now, that others are watching, that whatever it is they need to see, they will be able to see the God. They will be able to see the help. They'll be able to see the solution. They'll be able to see whatever it is that they're needing to get them through whatever they're going through. That's why we understand these circumstances and these situations of life. And we do understand in our humanness that sometimes they burden us down and sometimes they become hard to bear. But we just have to learn and we trust you more. The harder it seems that they get, the more I have to trust in you. The more I have to hold on to you. That I have to wrestle not with my situation, dear God, but I'm wrestling to hold on to you. I'm wrestling with you like Jacob did. I'm not going to let go until my blessing comes. I'm not going to let go. Even when my deliverance comes, I'm going to hold on, dear God, because I know that without you, I just can't make it. Without you, I can't go the way. Without you, I can't do the do. Without you, I can't even say the saying. I need you right now. So God, touch your people. Touch your people. Strengthen them. Guide them and lead them. Teach them. Give them what they need. Give us what we need. God, each and every one that here right now, dear God, just make us stronger. That we can endure. We can put up with it. We can press through. That we can go even down to the last mile of the way. And when it's all said and done, and this journey is over, that we can hear nothing be said other than, well done, my good and faithful servant. That we run a good race and that we fought a good fight. And dear God, I say unto you right now, dear God, these things we petition you right now. We petition you right now that you will receive the meditations of our minds and our hearts and our mouths, dear God. Things that are being processed, the things that are being handed forth, that you would take them, dear God, that you would do it and what you would do with them. But on top of it all, dear God, we always say, not our will, but let your will be in the will right now.